What? Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, you're talking about the book of Boba Fett, right?
No. We're gonna be talking something about something else a lot better than that.
Oh, like what? Wait, today March 1st?
Yeah, man.
Oh, damn it. Alright, audience, sorry, I'll go change. Be right back. Came. I've been trying to reach you. Just kidding, folks. CBH here, how's it going? I'm with my friend Dylan. We've been friends for years. He's a huge Batman fan. Later on today, we're going to go see the new Batman. He's super excited, so am I, as you can obviously tell. But we just got a few little things we want to talk about. Some predictions, some little backstory for the two of us. So I'll go ahead and get started here. So I'm going to ask Dylan a question. He'll give his answer, and I'll give a little bit of an answer from me too. So, Dylan, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
All right. So, with this being a Batman story, I just wanted to ask some of your opinions about Batman and characters and that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
So, what made you a Batman fan? And I'm talking about it can be anything, can be a TV show, a comic, a movie, just overall, like what got you into the character?
Okay. When I was a kid, my dad gave me this huge box, and it had a bunch of comic books in it. And that was the first comic book I read was Batman comic,
Okay.
and I was a big fan of that. And then the movies, which they're already out, just hadn't seen it yet. And then it was that first Michael Keaton movie that I saw
Okay.
that really
Gotcha.
pushed me into really liking Batman.
Okay. How old do you think you were? Were you really young? Or?
I'd say like 8 or 9 years old.
Okay. Okay, now I'll go ahead and give a little bit of my backstory. But to do that, I'm just going to give a little visual aid. Hopefully you can see this. But it's Batman the Animated Series. That's what got me into Batman. Because it came out like a year before I was born and it started running. And I remember watching it as a kid and growing up with all the Batman animated stuff that came out after it. But so I was an animation fan first, and then I watched the live action movies, and I ended up liking the live action stuff too.
I actually have not seen that one yet. I'll have to watch it sometime.
You haven't seen the animated series?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Yeah. That's all
I've seen a
right.
lot of Batman stuff, but I haven't seen a lot of the animated series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll look you up. I
Okay,
got
alright.
the box set for
Okay.
it, so I can look you up. So now we've talked a little bit about movies and everything.
Okay.
So what is your favorite Batman movie? And with
Batman movie.
And with this, it can be live action, it can be animated. Just tell me maybe one or two movies that you would call your favorites.
I think it's just going to be Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just Christian Bale being Batman, it was also just... I really liked how they went all the way back to him training and learning to be Batman and everything he had to do basically to become Batman and like facing his fears and that really good whole prequel story was really good because I don't really feel like anybody else really covered that. I mean, Tim Burton did an amazing job. I don't really feel like he needed to do that, but it was still really cool to see that, see a different director do that.
Right. I mean, we kind of take it for granted nowadays that everybody knows what Batman's story was, but back in 2005 when that came out, it had never really been explored in a movie.
Yeah.
So it was very groundbreaking at the time, and it still is now. Honestly, talking about live action, I think I'm right there with you. Like, if nothing else, I kind of have a weird confession to make about the Dark Knight trilogy. I kind of saw them out of order.
Saw him out of order. What do you mean?
So, like, I hadn't seen Batman Begins, and then when 2008 happened and The Dark Knight came out, I went to the theater with my dad and my nephew to see The Dark Knight. That was actually my first exposure to Christian Bale's Batman. Was that movie?
Yeah.
And it obviously had a huge impact on me. So so then after I watched that, and after I loved that movie so much, went back and watched Batman Begins, and I had so much appreciation for it, just knowing like everything it's set up in that movie that the Dark Knight kind of pays off, and then Dark Knight Rises does too. But yeah, I don't think I'd ever told anybody that I watched them out of order.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I watched that first one, and then I just patiently waited for the next one. You know, the internet just wasn't quite up there yet, so it wasn't where you could just, like, you know, Google and find out when the next movie was going to come out. You know, it was still kind of like slower then.
Gotcha. And I think if, maybe it's Mandela effect I'm having here, but I'm trying to remember, like, I remember seeing that being advertised, Batman Begins being advertised, but I don't think I was interested in Batman at that exact moment in life. Like, I don't know if I'd grown out of it, or maybe I just really like Burton's Batman, so it's hard to see somebody else playing him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really hard for people to, I feel like, let Christian Bale step into that part, because he did so well. They were just like, well, nobody can do as good as him. I think Christian Bale did do really good, but I think he did really good in his own way.
Yeah. He feels very distinct when it comes to Batman. And just to spotlight, because not everybody talks about animated stuff, I just want to talk about a couple of animated movies that, if you're a Batman fan, I think you should check out. One, obviously, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm came out in '93, same year I was born. It had a theatrical run for like a week because they had a higher budget, so they wanted to make a spectacle out of it. But didn't do so well in the box office. But when home media came around, they did gangbusters on it. So it became really popular then. And that's like the other Batman movie that really explores the origin of the character, at least in the animated canon, like in the animated series version of Batman. But
so what did they explain? Like, what did they show in that? That did a good explanation of Batman.
Basically, it's like you don't see all of his training and everything because there are certain episodes of the series you see like flashbacks of his training with different characters. But this is when he comes back to Gotham and he's got this mission in mind, and you see him workshopping his fighting technique, his tools, his costume is the big thing. Like he starts out looking kind of like me, honestly, just minus the glasses, just like
early stages of the Batsuit.
Yeah, and it's just a guy throwing hands at criminals, and and they're not scared of him at first, and that's when he realizes that he needs a costume.
Yeah, because he looks like a regular everyday guy.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of just looked like a thug too.
Yeah.
So he wanted to intimidate people, like when he showed up.
Yeah.
Everybody would know that he was there to stop him. Everything. And the scene when he first puts on the cowl, only see Alfred's reaction to it on him is amazing.
Yeah.
Like it, because it's built up so much. Like you see him with the cape on and everything, and then the last piece is the cowl that he puts on, and that's like one of the best moments in the movie.
Yeah.
And you also see a love story that's a love story too. A tragic love story. So if you like that kind of stuff, it's you really explore Bruce Wayne a lot as a character. And the Joker's in there too, just for fun.
Cool.
So anytime Mark Hamill Joker's in there, I'm interested.
Yeah. Oh, that was Mark Hamill then?
Yeah, in the animated series, Kevin Conroy is Batman and Mark Hamill is the Joker. This was the first time they ever played those characters.
Okay.
So, highly recommend it if you get a chance to watch it.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely will.
But newer wise, there are a few that I would recommend. One is Batman Under the Red Hood. You may have heard of that one because that one's really popular. But that's about where one of the Robins gets killed by the Joker, and then he's reanimated as a villain. It's really good.
How does he get reanimated?
Lazarus Pit.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't spoil everything, but you know if you know
well, I haven't seen it yet.
if you know about Lazarus Pits, you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's a really good one. I think that was like 2010.
Okay.
It's doesn't have Kevin Conroy doing the voice, but Bruce Greenwood does a really good Batman. And Jensen Ackles plays Red Hood, who is the villain persona of the Robin.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Just seeing like Batman having to fight somebody that he cared about.
Yeah. Who he trained and loved and.
Yeah. But the most recent one that I recommend, it's a two-parter, is they finally did an actual adaptation of Batman: The Long Halloween last year.
Okay.
It's 2 parts, so together it's like 2.5 hours. But just me personally, it gives me everything that I want in Batman because it's about Batman and Wayne's history. It's a mafia story. It's a murder mystery. It goes into Carmine Falcone and his history, and Harvey Dent is one of the main characters. Too. A lot of it's from his perspective. You see, and you see nearly every one of the major Batman villains has a role in it.
Oh,
in some way. So that one's a lot of fun, and it's got a bunch of actors that haven't played these characters before doing the first time. I think they all nailed it. So that's just a newer one that I recommend because with those movies, I never know if I'm going to love them going in, but that one is like, man, that's about perfect.
Yeah.
So before we dawdle on, we want to go ahead and go to the next one. We touched on it a little bit, but who is your best Batman actor, in your opinion? And we'll talk live action, voice, this everything.
Well, I don't know. That's really hard. I really like Michael Keaton and I really like Christian Bale. Michael Keaton did do a good job, but I felt like he wasn't straining his voice so much. Like he kind of like being himself.
Yeah.
As Batman, and Christian Bale did do amazing, but I just felt like he was straining his voice so much to become that character.
Yeah, there's something about Keaton as Batman that just sounds really natural with his voice because he has a quiet intensity with his voice. And plus,
that's the way to explain it right there.
And I know that his Bruce Wayne's like not the most popular version. Honestly, I think Christian Bale is the best Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
But I would say Michael Keaton may be the best Batman in live action.
Yeah.
But what I really like about his Bruce Wayne is this guy's a weirdo. He is unapologetically socially awkward and weird, and then that scene with him and the Joker when the Joker comes into his place or is it Mickey Pale's place? I don't remember.
Yeah.
And then he grabs the poker and just goes, "Want to get nuts? Let's get nuts."
Yeah, it's when he straight up went Beetlejuice, in his own even they're in the same universe.
Yeah. Every Tim Burton movie's in the same universe. You heard it here first. It's weird rewatching the Batman, the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah.
Because of the Batman voice is really weird. Because even when I watched The Dark Knight first time in the theater, I was like, I remember leaning over at Dad. I'm like, does he normally talk like that?
Yeah.
And he's just like, I think he just shook his head, like, yep.
Yeah. I mean, I do like it, but I still like the way he did it more. But I still think Christian Bale did amazing.
And the weird thing is, like, in Batman Begins, like, when I went back and watched it, I was like, this voice is perfect in this movie. Like, it's not as gravelly. It's just, like, subdued and threatening when it needs to be.
Right, yeah.
But it's different enough from the Bruce Wayne voice that you can you could really buy that these are two different people. But it felt like with each of those three movies, like the voice got more ridiculous with each time.
Yeah.
Like by the time the third one happens and he's fighting Bane in the sewers and he's like growling and he's fighting, I'm like, I can't hardly understand what you're saying at this point. And I mean, I get what you're trying to go for and I appreciate it, but I don't know, maybe that was a directing thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe they just let Christian Bale go a little too far.
Yeah.
With the voice.
Yeah, I really hope that like Robert Pattinson's gonna be, like that next really good, Batman. And I think in this he's just doing his regular voice. I don't think there's anything, he hasn't, changed his voice. Like Ben Affleck's Batman,
which I do like actually.
Oh, you did like that?
I do like Batfleck. Yeah, not to make a pun or anything, but I always go to bat for the people that are playing these roles.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, just give them a chance before you ridicule them because they might be amazing. Like that's what happened with Heath Ledger. Like everyone's like, oh, he's gonna be a terrible Joker.
I thought it. Yeah, I was just like, there's no way he's gonna. And it wasn't that I didn't think he was a good actor. I was just like, no,
not the Joker.
Yeah, you're just not the Joker. I was completely wrong.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, I felt that way about Batfleck too, because like everybody like was already making fun of him when he was cast, and then he comes out in Batman vs Superman. I have a lot of issues with that movie, but I love Batman.
I think he was a good Batman, but I mean, no offense to Ben, I just thought that he played good as an older version of Batman and not the younger version. I'm not really for sure what they were going with when he directed that, but I just felt like in that older version of Batman, he's perfect for it, but that younger version, no.
Yeah, they were really going Dark Knight Returns Batman, like 60. Well, he's not in the 60s, like in his 60s, but like in the comic he is.
Yeah.
But he's like gray headed, and he's got the full battle suit and everything.
Yeah.
Like, which I like that story and everything, but as if this is your introduction to Batman, that's kind of weird because with that Batman, you've had a huge comic book run, and then this is like him much older, so you kind of understand things are different now.
Yeah. And he was good as Batman. I just felt like a lot of the other actors that were in that movie were stealing from him.
That's fair.
And it's not that his acting was bad. It was just because you've got Superman and you've got Wonder Woman and you've got all these people instead of it just being about Batman. And I think, if you're going to do another Ben Affleck movie, it needs to just be about him and not all of these other people.
Yes. It's a great tragedy that we will probably never get a Batman movie directed by Affleck and starring him.
Yeah.
See, that was the plan originally, like after BVS he was going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, damn, I really wanted to see that.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for Pattinson. I'm always open for a new interpretation of the character.
Yeah.
Because they kind of are keeping the Snyder movies kind of canon to the story, to that timeline anyway. This Pattinson is a different one.
Yeah. I definitely think he's going to be really, really good in his own way, separate from everybody else. And that's kind of what I've liked about all the Batmans is like not everybody's copying the same Batman. Everybody's doing it in their own way, and I really like that.
Yeah. And just a quick aside about animated, like voice acting, Batman. Obviously, Kevin Conroy is the OG for me because I literally grew up with him with Batman the Animated Series, all the animated movies he did, and he's in like Justice League Unlimited, like all of those. It was his voice for like 14 years throughout all these different things.
Yeah.
And he also did the Arkham video games.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I played a few of them. They're pretty good.
Yeah. So I've just always loved his Batman voice. But like I was saying earlier, Bruce Greenwood is really good. He was in the Under the Red Hood, but he was also the main voice for Batman in the Young Justice series. Which his voice is different than Conroy.
Yeah, that's an LA.
But it's cool that he's doing his own thing.
Yeah,
and it still sounds like Batman. So I really like him. And then a voice that I thought was kind of weird when I first heard him play Batman, but I've really come to like it, is you may not know him by name, but Dietrich Bader. He does he did the Batman the Brave and the Bold cartoon.
Okay.
Based on like the 60s comics. But he has a really gruff, like masculine voice. But it's kind of like watching a more modern Batman do Adam West material.
Okay.
Which is funny because he plays it up as so serious, but it's like so stupid.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
But he did come back to voice Batman in the Harley Quinn animated series, and he's really good in it too. When you start talking, I was like, oh, I know that.
Yeah, you recognize his voice.
I know that voice. Yeah. And that's a more serious, like mature show. So it's a little bit. Well, it's not as campy as Brave and Bold. No disrespect, 'cause I love that show, but that was cool that he came back to do like two kind of different takes on Batman.
Yeah.
I always want to spotlight the ones that people don't always know about. So where are we now? We've done the actors. Now, this one will be a fun one. And let me know in the comments below just your thoughts on your answer to this question. What is your favorite Batman villain? And when I say this, I mean like it can be the character from the comics. It can be a certain performance as the character. Just tell me what character do you like the most out of the villains?
It's got to be Mr. Freeze.
Okay.
Just like Arnold's one-liners in that are just absolutely amazing. Like, I mean, I know it's considered one of like the worst Batman movies ever, but for him to be so serious when he did all like playing that character completely just killed me every time.
Yeah, any comic book movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, I can at least like it for that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be cliche and just be like, oh, it's the Joker, because everybody likes the Joker. But I mean,
and that's another thing. Like if you did the Joker, it could be a certain version other people may not pick. So that because Jared Leto's your favorite, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that this new Great Alert will change my, who I think is the best. But I mean, just with everything I've only seen like in the trailer, I can't wait to see how well. And the first thing that I saw like Paul Dano in was The Girl Next Door.
Oh yeah,
he played Klitzy. So to see him go from that character to that character, that's really cool to see him. Because even though he was just like a side character in that movie, I really just liked his character and I just like that actor. I just had never seen him in anything before.
He is a great actor.
Yeah,
I like that and everything. He always plays like kind of a creepy part nowadays.
Yeah.
Like if you ever watched Prisoners with Hugh Jackman, I
haven't seen that one yet.
If I remember correctly, he's the guy who kidnapped the kids. I think he's the pedophile or the murderer. I don't remember what exactly happened, but I remember I liked that movie.
I haven't seen that one
dark
yet.
It was. But my answer to this, we've never actually gotten him in live action, at least as far as I know. But it's the Mad Hatter.
I think of who that is. And
okay, I'll help you out. I'll give you the basics on his character. Basically, he's a guy who, like, as a kid, he loved Alice in Wonderland. So he had a difficult life, so he read books a lot.
Okay,
and he's kind of a theatrical person. Like he liked to. He always liked the Mad Hatter because he liked the theatricality of the character. And then he just coincidentally, or just use comic book logic here, he falls in love with a woman named Alice. That's like blonde hair and like the dress and everything. It looks she looks when he first saw her, she looked like Alice from Alice in Wonderland. And I think he'd always had a crush on the character in the book. So he's like I have to try to be with her because I like her. And then the dark side really comes out whenever she rejects him. Like that's when he becomes a control freak because he worked for Wayne Industries, at least in certain runs of comics. He worked with mind control chips that he would they'd always test it on like mice or something, and he'd have a band on his head that he could control like what they did. So what he did is he embraced the Mad Hatter aesthetic, where he dressed up with the big hat, and the hat has the ring inside of it, and he has these little cards that are from the Alice in Wonderland. I think the animated thing. I don't know if the book.
Okay, so he's only from animated.
Well,
I mean, besides comic book, but yeah. Okay, yeah. See, I haven't seen many of the animated.
But he has these cards that I think are just from the animated like Alice in Wonderland movie, where he sticks it like on someone's head and they become under his control.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So he had, and then his whole thing like in the Arkham games, I don't remember which Arkham game it is, but he is a mini boss in it, and he has the Wonderland gang, but who all have like rabbit masks, and he has like a big tea party thing that he's holding. I was like, he's a very weird character, but I really would like to see him in live action at some point.
So who do you think would be a good actor for that part?
That's kind of hard because I do associate the British accent with him because because in the animated series he had is Roddy McDowell, who voiced him. And he always had kind of a British accent. He's always kind of small or like lanky too, so it wouldn't be a big guy. I think. I thought I'd put him on the spot. He's putting me on the spot.
I mean, put you on the spot. I was just curious of what you thought.
I did have an idea once, but I'm trying to remember who I would have cast as him.
You think like Obi-Wan?
No.
Or McGregor?
He's Black Mask, and he's great as Black Mask.
Right, yeah, no, I didn't like him as Black Mask.
So leave him there. Car. I think it's a car. I live near an airport, so I'm used to airplanes, but not cars. So Mad Hatter. I'll think about that.
That's right.
I'll get back to you on
that.
I don't want to take too long on this. So there's only a couple questions, so we'll try to go a little bit faster on these. So many people who have been watching the trailers and everything, they're speculating this Robert Pattinson Batman is connected to Joaquin's Joker. And like maybe that's a prequel to this storyline, possibly. We'll know tonight after we see it. But it's a curious idea. So with that in mind, is there a Batman villain that you think should get like its own movie if it's set in the same Batman universe that they're setting up with Pattinson?
Yeah.
And I think they've confirmed Joker 2 is happening, so you don't have to say like another Joker movie because we're already getting that.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'll let you have it. Just tell me a villain you think could pull the movie down.
Well, by just what I've seen of the trailers, I would like to see the new Riddler, like him having his own movie. Pretty much him. I wouldn't mind the Penguin, like kind of getting his own movie too. But since I haven't quite seen the movie yet, I don't really know how well Colin Farrell's going to be, like as the Penguin. heard good things, but I haven't seen it yet. So I don't know.
Just want to take a second. Can you all believe that that's Colin Farrell under all that makeup? Because when I saw him, I was like,
Yeah, I didn't even recognize him in the trailer either.
I saw that. I was like, who is that guy? Because I recognized the voice kind of, but then it said Colin Farrell on there. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I looked that up. I was like,
yeah, I had to look it up too. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, so you choose Riddler.
Yeah, I would say even though just what I've seen off the trailer so far, that's what I would choose. Just because I think that's just a really cool character that just really hasn't had his own movie yet.
Yeah, and this I'm not restricting you to movies that's ones that are in the movie that we know of. I'm just thinking like characters in this kind of take on Batman that could do it.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be.
Well, this Riddler seems a lot more serious and more dark, and not that the other one didn't really like murder many people. I mean, Jim Carrey was Jim Carrey in that. But I just think the new one is just it's a lot more serious and it's a lot more like he's going to be killing people because he wants them to step out of the shadow of being Batman, and he's not going to allow it. So he's got to figure that out.
Gotcha. My idea for a Gotham City villain movie, I kind of got it while watching the Long Halloween. But I really think they should do a Two-Face movie.
Two-Face.
But I think they should do it kind of the way they did the Joker, where it's like there's some elements from the comics that are there, but it's really its own story. Because my thought with Two-Face, because it could be like a political thriller, because of him being DA, and then with the split personality coming out, what I was thinking they could do like maybe not have him get deformed until like the end of the movie, but have him have the split personality and have him
like switch back and forth.
Yeah, and like have him as the DA, like the Harvey inside his head.
Yeah.
But then Big Bad Harv, the evil side, be like maybe it's like when the sun goes down or something, he takes over and he becomes like a mob boss. Like, but you never, but people don't know like who he is. Like, he always has his identity.
Yeah.
But where he's like fighting two sides of a war the whole time, and people don't figure it out until the end of the movie.
That'd be a really good story. That's something I would like to see.
It is. Joker was so interesting and so different. I'm like, I want them to experiment with different ideas and
like different characters and stuff. Yeah,
and I always appreciated Two-Face as a character.
Yeah,
I just think he could really hold his own movie because he is literally two characters in one. See how they fight each other and everything, or maybe they work together eventually.
Yeah,
and it's like a corrupt DA.
Yeah,
that could be interesting too. I think. Okay, so you got everything you want to say about Riddler?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got the last one. This one's just for fun. What is your favorite Batman parody that you've seen? Like, it can be like...
It has to be everything that College Humor has done.
Yes.
That is just... that is just top tier best of them just making fun of Batman. Do you know who played that Batman?
Pete Holmes.
Pete Holmes, yeah.
Yeah, that is hilarious. Like, if you ever watch his stand-up, he's really funny.
Yeah.
But I was like, he approximates the voice so well as Batman. That's the crazy part, is that how much he sounds like Christian Bale. And, all that stuff is great. And I wish, like, in some Batman movie or something that he could have a cameo. Just as him normally. Yeah. But just, like, I'm thinking like a news reporter or something just on screen for a second. I think that would be funny. But I really like Pete Holmes as Batman. I really like how it should have ended as Batman. Yeah. Because Daniel Baxter does the voice so well as Batman, and they make him so over the top and ridiculous. Yeah. And that
maybe that's what makes it so good is because it's so over the top. And it's actually good though, like even though it's campy and not really taken seriously, it's pretty good still.
The only other one I wanted to mention, at least on YouTube wise, was Barely Political. he doesn't really do stuff anymore. At least I've followed him for years, on YouTube, but I don't think he does anything anymore. But his Batman parodies, where he plays most of the characters, his Batman is really good. But I think maybe my favorite of his is this Alfred, because he dresses up with the gray hair and the suit and everything. Yeah. I totally buy him as all these characters. Yeah. It's just how he can approximate everyone's voice and everything. That I think he did a roast video where it's a bunch of superheroes together roasting each other at an event.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, I haven't seen that one yet.
If I can find it, I'll show it to you. But this is a parody that I always thought was funny of Batman is Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
I always know when something's doing a Batman parody, that always makes me laugh. Just there was a Ninja Turtles episode in one of the later series that had a comic book character coming to life. And it's literally Adam West Batman.
Oh yeah,
and just the copyright free version.
Yeah.
But they do all the 60s Batman gags and everything with them. Batman's such an influential character that he works good when he's serious or funny.
Yeah.
It just doesn't really matter. It's always funny or enjoyable in some way. So we're gonna take a little break, just then maybe for an ad or something. I don't know how YouTube works, but we'll be back in just a second, and we're gonna talk our actual predictions for the movie.
Okay.
Alright, and we are back. Welcome back, everybody.
You back?
Nothing happened within the Windows cuts, I swear. So, with this section, we're going to talk about our predictions for the plot of the Batman. The first part was just kind of our stance on Batman and our relationship with it. So, now I'm just going to go over some ideas I've had about where this may go, and then Dylan will chime in with his whenever he's got some. So, first idea I had was watching this. There's the trailers and everything. It appears that there's some kind of cover up with the police department of Gotham City.
Yeah.
That Riddler's trying to expose.
Yeah.
So I think that my theory is that somebody close to the Riddler, maybe his family or something, was murdered.
Okay. Yeah.
So and it was covered up.
Yeah.
So he's trying to expose that by killing everybody that covered it up.
Yeah.
Revealing it to the city. What are your thoughts on that?
On my own or on that one?
Well, on that, do you have any idea like that?
Well, I'm hoping, what I think would be cool is if, the bat signal that's on his chest is, made out of the gun that killed his parents.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a really cool idea. And it might just be, a tactical, knife thing that he uses. It might not be the gun or anything made out of it. I just thought that'd be a cool idea.
Do you think that is, actually a batarang in there that he could pull out and use in the...
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking at the design of it, I was kind of wondering about that.
Yeah.
Another theory I had, and I've had this for a while, ever since this movie was first announced, that Riddler is going to be the main villain.
Yeah.
And Matt Reeves is going for a detective noir thing.
Yeah.
I've always been wondering ever since then, is or / was the Riddler a part of the police department?
I've never thought about that.
If
he was a detective or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My original thought was, because I was imagining the Riddler as being the secondary main character to Batman.
Yeah.
Is if he is trying to discover who the Batman is, and tries to expose everything.
Yeah.
And he goes down the supervillain route on.
Goes from good to bad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah.
Like a negative character. Where he goes off the deep end. just because of this obsession with Batman.
Yeah.
That was just an idea I had that I think there may be some truth to that because it seems like he has inside knowledge of the police department.
Yeah.
And the show Gotham, I don't know if you ever watched it, but
I watched a little bit of it, not much.
Riddler in that show actually did work for the police department. I think he was in records maybe or something, but he was always kind of in the background, like learning things and sometimes using that info against people.
Yeah.
That is another idea I had. One thing, they have confirmed Carmine Falcone is in this movie.
Yeah.
So
I did see him in like one of the trailers that I watched.
But I think that there's something to do with the Falcone crime family, and maybe a connection to the Waynes.
Yeah.
Possibly. Because the Long Halloween storyline actually explores that a little bit, because Thomas Wayne knew Carmine when they were younger.
Yeah.
Like, helped him out.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, so I think that, I don't know how big of a role Carmine's and his family are going to have in this, but I think they'll probably touch on that idea.
Yeah.
At least a little bit.
See, I'm thinking, like, one of my predictions, the reason why his parents died or they got killed, is because they're corrupted or connected to something that got them killed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's,
And it may not have just been a random act of violence that killed them. It may have been a hitman.
Yeah.
That's an interesting angle. I'm trying to think of any comic book that's done that or anything, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, I've read some of the comic books, but I haven't read, like, every single one of them. I mean, I'm a Batman fan, but not a big Batman fan compared to, like, a lot of other people.
Yeah, like, Joe Chill's the normal way, the guy who kills him in the comics, and a lot of times he's just an incidental criminal. Like, sometimes he's just a mugger, sometimes he's actually worked for the crime families and stuff, but the Waynes were always just collateral damage. It wasn't a targeted hit, like he was trying to kill them.
And then I think when the Joker did it in Tim Burton's, right, that was the Joker that had done it, he was, like, really young then.
Yeah, because he was an up-and-coming monster.
Right, yeah, he was up-and-coming,
Yeah, that leads me to another point. I'm trying to think who it was that came up with this term. Oh, it's Dan Murrell. He's big on YouTube. He coined this phrase, the popcorn and pearls scene, which is the Wayne's murder.
Yeah.
Do you think we're actually going to see that in the movie, or do you think it's just going to be referenced?
I think it might be referenced. I think just because everybody knows the story, I don't see Matt Reeves just showing it again. And he might, I don't know, since we haven't seen it yet, we're going off of just the trailer. Mm-hmm. I don't think that they will, but at least if he does, I bet you'll probably pretty quick. And, something that needs another 15, 20 minutes of you watching something that you already know that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they'll do like what Zack Snyder did, where like the opening prologue showed the flashback.
That was actually kind of cool.
Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just don't think they'll probably won't do it the same way.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they might do like a dream sequence or something. I've seen. I mean, a lot of the animated shows, they show him having a vision of that happening, and it's like a dream.
Yeah.
Just throwing out as many ideas as I can to see how right it can be.
Yeah.
I
can only come up with 2. Those are the best I can come up with.
Hey, you're participating. That's
right. I'm trying.
I think that they've already confirmed this to not be true. At least if you put a store in the wiki, I don't normally.
Yeah.
But in the Frank Miller comics, when it shows Catwoman's origin, she actually was a prostitute, like a dominatrix type prostitute.
Yeah.
And then she eventually became a cat burglar and a criminal.
Yeah.
And then because of Batman, his influence kind of made her more.
Yeah, that'd be definitely interesting.
I mean, I knew she was a prostitute in like some of the versions,
Yeah.
and then I figured out that I looked back and that she was originally dominatrix. Something that kind of made sense.
Right, yeah, because yeah, especially Michelle Pfeiffer, like that's really got her vibe in it. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think that that's what they're going with because based on the wiki, I think she's like she works for the Penguin in his lounge thing as a waitress or something. I think, but in kind of a seedy underbelly kind of way. So I think they're probably not going to make her a prostitute. Is what I'm saying, but
yeah,
I'm just throwing it out there because it might happen.
yeah.
Okay, something that is different that I've noticed about this movie from other versions already is that they don't seem to be doing the Commissioner Loeb character from the comics. Because he was the commissioner before Gordon
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
in a lot of versions.
Yeah.
And you saw in like The Dark Knight, whenever Commissioner Loeb gets assassinated by the Joker,
Yeah.
and then Gordon becomes commissioner by the
Yeah.
end of the movie. This guy, I don't know his name, Commissioner Savage, I think is his name. And I've watched a few theory videos about this stuff, and some people are theorizing that the Savage family has something to do with like the conspiracy of the Falcones.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that, and that he's supposed to be like a rich, like from rich blood, you know, like Batman, and but he's like a corrupted commissioner, kind of. So I think Gordon's gonna be like a detective in the beginning, and then becomes a commissioner when Savage probably gets killed by the Riddler. If he's involved with everything, which I think he probably would be. I mean, when I saw him, in the trailer and everything, the way his like coat and glasses and everything, it's like it looks like just Commissioner Loeb. I just thought that's who that guy was.
Yeah.
I looked right into it. I was like, oh, okay, they're kind of doing something different. Left. Okay, so plot-wise, what I think they might be doing, because this Batman is supposed to be more unhinged than other Batman that we've seen. I think that there's always the risk and kind of underlying theme in Batman that he might go too far.
Oh, you kill somebody or almost kill them?
Might kill somebody. Might become like just out for vengeance, not justice. And see, I think that's happened to the Riddler. Like maybe he had a similar ideology to Batman, trying to expose corruption, but he decided to become a serial killer instead of just a vigilante. And I think because there's that kind of interplay between Alfred and Bruce in the trailer, that Alfred's afraid that Bruce is going to go down the same path. I think that's kind of that they're making a parallel story with those two characters. I think maybe that'll snap Bruce Wayne out of it, like realize that he's about to go too far, and keeps him from doing that because he sees what the Riddler happened to the Riddler whenever he let that happen. You know, like what writer's brain coming in, thinking how they would connect them. In other ways other than just the Waynes being connected to the crimes.
No, that'd be cool to have them two like right there next to each other.
I think that if they're doing that, like their first meeting, I think it's at the police department, whatever, like between the wall between them.
Yeah. Window looking thing.
A lot of times in movies and everything, when they're doing parallel character stuff, they intentionally shoot things certain ways. And that's really kind of an obvious way of doing parallel, just shooting from the camera angle and everything. I just think that if they're going for that, that would make sense that they would shoot it that way. Try to amplify the similarities as much as possible. Okay, so this one, I had to. I did a little research to see what Matt Reeves said, like what comics inspired him to make the movie. And one that he mentioned, which I hadn't actually heard of before, I had to read into it to see what it was. It was Batman Year 2. Like, I've heard of Batman Year 1 because that's a Frank Miller comic. It's it's in the same universe as Dark Knight Returns. Like it's the beginning, Dark Knight Returns is the end, basically. But year 2 is like Batman, where he's still pretty new and everything.
Yeah, he's more detective than that than really.
Yeah, but the crazy thing about that storyline is that I think the character's name is Reaper or something like that. He's the villain that is trying to take down. And Batman gets to the point of like wanting to take Reaper down that he actually considers using a gun to kill him.
Yeah, I haven't heard that yet, but that'd be cool.
I'm just thinking, going on with that idea of temptation and the story going too far, that kind of lines up in my head. I see why he may have gotten inspiration from that.
Yeah. It'd be hard for me to imagine seeing Bruce Wayne just pull the block and just smack down a bad guy, which, I mean, I'd be all for that, but that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I don't see it going that far, but that would be cool, though.
And what I was looking up about the storyline with Reaper and everything, apparently it was one of the main inspirations behind Batman Mask of the Phantasm that I mentioned earlier. The villain in it, Phantasm, is like he's got like a cloak and mask, and he has a blade for an arm. Yeah. That's kind of Reaper's thing too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I didn't know that character was inspired by that. That's kind of cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Very different character technically, but just visually, I was like, I hadn't made that connection until I read that. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So, kind of a cool thing, I think.
Yeah.
May happen. So, say we don't take a break. We're just gonna transition here.
Oh.
We're gonna talk about cameos that we think might show up in this movie or might be mentioned.
Yeah.
Because Gotham's really rich story-wise. Like, there's a bunch of characters.
Yeah, really deep rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, is there any... Just go and start with you, though. What character you think we will hear a mention of or we might see a glimpse of?
I think they might poke around with the Joker. To me, I feel like that's really the only one I see possibly being mentioned. The only reason I say that because you already got the Penguin, and you already got the Riddler. It'd be cool to see, Bane in there too, but I just don't know if it's where it's quite there yet for Bane.
Yeah, you want Batman to be more established before you introduce Bane.
Yeah.
You have to show like how strong Batman is before you show the guy that's going to beat the crap out of him.
Right. Yeah.
So Bane is definitely for a more experienced Batman.
Yeah. Probably an older version.
Yeah. I get where you're coming from. They can do something with that. Tied into my idea with the Joker thing is I think that they are going to tease us with a little bit of the Joker. Probably maybe an ending stinger or something. Yeah. Kind of like Batman Begins. Maybe not that blatant though.
Yeah.
Like maybe just a visual thing. Like maybe Batman doesn't even catch it like we do. Like notice if there's something that is kind of maybe pointing to Joker. And with that being said, I don't know if we're going on the hypothetical that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker existed, like it was kind of the origin for this Batman. Like if they do Joker again, it's going to be like a copycat, I guess.
Yeah.
Which you had all that mob that like that were
I know.
Everything.
Yeah, I get what you mean now. Yeah.
So maybe there's like I don't want to say like a Joker gang necessarily, but maybe there's people that are left over from that era.
Yeah.
That maybe one of them assumes the mantle of Joker or something like that. They did that in Batman Beyond, which is one of the DC animated shows. In the same universe as Batman the Animated Series. They called them the Jokers with a Z. Because it was in the future and they're like street punks. They always modeled their look after the Joker. So they might do something like that. And people were thinking the one scene where where it's all the guys with white face paint fighting Batman in the alley. They thought that maybe that's who those guys were supposed to be.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay. Yeah, I saw their faces painted up in the trailer, and it made me wonder what they were doing or who they were with. I didn't even think about it being like that weird Joker universe thing. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
That is one idea I had. Like I was thinking that could make sense if they're connected.
Yeah.
If they're not, though, I don't think that there's. I kind of think that it's a misdirect because people are going to think Joker when they see the face paint and everything.
Yeah.
I think that they might actually be doing the Skull Gang, which is kind of a lesser known thing.
Yeah, because they've got like white and black paint on instead of like Joker paint. You know.
And I think and trailers always misdirect the audience. They want to make us think one thing so they can surprise us in the movie. I think that may not be the Joker's gang. I think it's going to be like maybe the Skull Gang, or they may not even have a name.
Yeah.
They may just be street punks that like to paint their faces.
Yeah.
You know?
Just Gotham scum.
I mean, in the Joel Schumacher Batman movies, they had a gang like that had like neon paint on their faces. It was in Forever, Batman Forever, and in Batman and Robin. They come back, so maybe it's a tribute to that. I don't know.
Yeah, they had like glow in the dark chains and stuff like that. Yeah, they had a lot of light sticks hanging off of their off their clothes.
This might be like a gritty reimagining of that gang.
Take it a little bit more seriously. Yeah.
And it may have been in Mr. Sunday movie's video that I saw this theory, but there's a character in that gang that has like only half of his face is painted white. It's a black actor playing the part, so you can see like his face and then the white paint. And there people were saying that this guy might be like an initiation guy, like a new member of the gang. So maybe he has to like kill somebody before he gets the full face paint or something like that. Because I think he's the only one in all the things we've seen that doesn't have full face paint. Yeah. So I don't know if that's relevant to the story at all, but I just think that's kind of an interesting idea, I think. Especially if maybe you remember like from the 90s Ninja Turtle movies where they have the kids that are recruited by Shredder to be street punk gangsters. It might be something like that where maybe Batman turns the guy's life around so he doesn't become a gang member. Yeah. By beating the shit out of all the other gang members. So it's like, I don't want to be a part of this. Right, yeah. It's just that idea had a lot of wheels turning in my head. But like, you could really do something with that. Yeah, for sure, yeah. Let's see, let's go back to the actual list just so I don't forget anything. So do you know who Holly Robinson is in the comics? No. In certain continuities, she becomes Catgirl. Yeah. She's basically like a teenage prostitute type character that Catwoman looks out for.
Is that kind of the one that was in Dark Knight Rises? That blonde-haired girl? Blonde. Yeah, because she was still in that dude's watch. Yeah.
I think we might, maybe not a name drop, but we might have a character like that's a friend of Selena's. Yeah. Might be just a little reference like the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. Is there like any little details that you noticed in the trailer that really caught your eye? That you just thought was really cool? Like,
what I thought was interesting is in one shot of the trailer, or maybe there's more than one shot, one really big shot where Batman is silhouetted against the city and it's like sunrise. So and it's kind of interesting. You don't see Batman in the sun very much. Yeah. But it does happen occasionally in the storylines. But I was like, that's doing kind of the magic hour filmmaking, kind of like what Michael Bay and certain people do, where everything's kind of got an orangish look. Yeah. it's an interesting look for Batman.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen before.
Yeah.
But
I like
just looking at the camera work, I was like, that's beautiful
that.
looking.
Yeah.
It's like it's something new.
Yeah, there's one little detail that I liked. Was when you saw like Catwoman and her sort of getting into that fight, like throws her down, he's like looking at her, and then you can see her mask. You can tell it's like homemade.
Oh,
and you know because
where it's like a beanie cap.
Yeah, because it's like Catwoman. She's not gonna have like all that money to go out and go buy some fancy suit. Like it's homemade. So I just thought that was kind of cool because you definitely tell that it at least looked homemade.
And the Riddler uses a lot of duct tape.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's going to be really big at Comic Con, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
People dressing up like the Riddler with the duct tape and everything. I can see that being.
You don't think the Jim Carrey types are better?
Well, I mean, for the tone it was going for, I think it worked.
Yeah, it worked for its time. Yeah.
I like when it's just like the green with the question marks. It doesn't look terrible. But then, like, later on, he wears this, like, white and green leotard, like, sparkly looking thing. I'm like, dude, that's way too much.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like, just keep it simple. Like
how they had it, yeah.
Like, you can have the pink hair and everything, that's fine, but that, like, is over-designed, I think's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Like, I do like this Riddler just being, like, so simple, so practical.
Yeah. And then he's not so, I wanted to keep using the word Jim Carrey, but you know what I mean.
Not so over the top.
Yeah, over the top, yeah.
Maybe they're going for more like a realistic serial killer type character. Which serial killers, I don't think, unless they're like the Joker, they don't really go for theatricality.
I think we'll see a lot of intelligence from this character. Not say like Jim Carrey's character like was dumb, but like he was intelligent, but like it was hard for me to take him seriously. I laughed at him more than
something I think is interesting with that scene of the Riddler being in the police station, like being interrogated by Batman. You think they're gonna do like a really similar thing what they did with the Joker in The Dark Knight, where he deliberately gets captured and then he's set off some kind of traps like all around the city. And then he's gonna set them off if they don't let him loose or something.
I can see that coming. Yeah. Because if we see him as intelligent as we think we see him now, he's probably gonna have some type of plan, like he wanted to get caught.
Another question I have is: do you think that the Riddler is going to die in this story?
I don't think he will. I think maybe he'll be one of those like he barely gets away type of things. I don't want to see him die. I know it's weird to like root for the bad guy, but
if they're a good bad guy,
right?
Keep him around.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just like Paul Dano so much. I don't want to see him die.
Yeah. Because I've kind of had this theory. I think it's in the James Bond movie Spectre, where Blofeld was the character, like the Bond villain that does it, but he has this like skyscraper basically rigged. The whole thing is rigged to explode, and he.
That's Sean Bean. Is that or no? Who's that?
No, that's from the '90s. The Spectre, that's the 2015 one, Daniel Craig.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. So I was way off. Okay.
There's a lot of James Bond movies, so I understand. That one is Christoph Waltz.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
Anyways, the scenario is like, I think Madeline, who's James Bond's main love interest, by the end, is in the building that is like entirely wired to explode. And I'm just wondering if Riddler's going to have something like that at the end of the movie, where he maybe traps Batman, Catwoman, maybe Gordon or something.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of people are trapped in there with him, and then he's considering blowing it all up with him inside.
Yeah.
And maybe they manage to escape, but he gets killed by his own explosive.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or maybe he blows himself up, but to avoid going to jail. Like he commits suicide so he doesn't have to actually be a life sentence.
Yeah, yeah. Mm. I hope he doesn't die. I don't want to see him.
Do you think that he's gonna send Batman on a scavenger hunt? Because I gotta say, I got some beef with Riddler in the Arkham games because of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I kind of hate this guy.
Yeah, when you had to travel all the way like across the map to get there, and then you had to go like all the way back, and then
Yeah, I was like, that kind of works as a game, but I hope he doesn't do that with the movie.
I hope that he like, I've noticed like in a lot of the Batman movies, there's not much showing him being really a detective. Like, there's a little bit like the Dark Knight series, like there's just a little bit. I mean, I guess there's a little bit in each, but not as much to keep me satisfied. If that makes any sense.
There seems to be a lot more focus on him being a technology expert.
Right.
Like him using tech to get some hack information or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of detective work. It's also kind of cyber terrorism, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
I do want there to be more detective stuff with that.
I think we'll definitely see it in this one.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that's what Matt Reeves is going for.
Yeah.
So hopefully that delivers on that.
Yeah.
Talking about some cameos that I think are going to happen. I think maybe at the end. Do you know who Renee Montoya and Harvey Bullock are? They're two detectives that are like kind of the staple detectives that you see in a lot of Batman stories.
Yeah.
Renee Montoya is the Latina woman that she's in the Harley Quinn Birds of Prey movie.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
That's an older version of her, but she's normally like one of the younger cops under Gordon.
Yeah.
And then Bullock is a lot of times used as comedic relief because he's kind of a fat guy.
Yeah.
Normally, but he always hates Batman because he doesn't trust vigilantes at all.
Yeah.
And he's always him and Gordon are always kind of butting heads because Batman does something a little sketchy and Bullock's like, see, I told you he does this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And Gordon's like, he's a necessary evil and all that. It's like you need that in Gotham City and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he was in the comics first or the animated series, but I remember I just love him in the animated series because he tries to act all big and stuff, but he's like such a slob and terrible at his job.
Yeah.
But Batman gets it done. He doesn't like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comedic potential if they bring in those two characters.
Yeah.
I'm saying. One thing I thought was interesting that Matt Reeves said that he, like in the sequel, if he makes a sequel, because I think they're planning a trilogy.
Yeah.
Of a character that they might actually do Mr. Freeze.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Which
I just hope that this next one's a lot more serious. Not one-liners, but how this Riddler is going to be, how this new Freeze be like him with his own story and everything. But
the TV show Gotham did a few episode long arc of Mr. Freeze and his wife.
Yeah.
They did that pretty well. So I like as a more serious story.
Yeah. I didn't see that one. I mean, I did like the story, of the one that Arnold played. Scientist, his wife was dying.
They really got the plot line right with that one. It was just that everything was a little too goofy.
Yeah.
Because he's very straightforward, no nonsense villain normally. When he is a villain, sometimes he is just kind of a villain out of necessity.
Yeah.
In Arkham City, he is a mini boss in it, but it's only because Penguin kidnapped his wife and made him fight Batman, basically.
Yeah.
So they could do something like that with Freeze, maybe advertise Freeze as the main villain, but then you figure out that there's actually another villain that's pulling the strings.
Yeah.
I think they might do that. I think that, given what Matt Reeves said, we might see a mention of Victor Freeze or Nora Freeze, maybe. Like Nora Freeze dying of McGregor syndrome. So they might they might do something like that, just to hint that that's going to happen in the next one.
Yeah.
So that's just another idea that I had. Pretty big cameo that I'm thinking is Harvey Dent, because like he's such a big character in the Batman story.
That would be cool. That makes sense too. Yeah.
And the way I think it's just going to be a mention though, if it happens, because they haven't cast him yet, or they haven't revealed that they've casted him yet. So I think that there's going to mention that the district attorney is working a new case, and you might see like Dent on the file or something.
Yeah. Have him like walk by in the background or something and mention him, and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Shazam?
Yeah.
Okay, remember the ending scene with Superman?
Yeah.
Where it doesn't show his face?
Yeah.
What if they did that with Two-Face?
That'd be cool. That'd be a neat idea.
Like just a guy in a really nice suit, just walking down the aisle and everything, talking to people, but or them talking to him, and you never see his face because they haven't cast him yet.
Yeah, have him sit down, like flip a coin or something, right next to Bruce Wayne.
Oh man, that'd be a great.
And have him not even know that,
That'd be a great ending shot, just him flipping the coin, and then it cuts to black or something. Yeah. So, do you have any thoughts you want to finish up with?
No, I think we pretty well covered everything. At least that's all I can think of. Unless you can think of anything else.
I mean, I've covered, I think, everything that was on my list.
Yeah.
And definitely some stuff that wasn't on there. So I think until I see the movie, I'm probably not going to have any more thoughts.
Right, yeah, I'm about the same way. Yeah.
So later on, we're gonna do another video, just our instant reaction to the movie, and I'll edit this all together to have it at the end of this video. So I guess next time you see us, we'll have seen the movie.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to see our reaction or anything, thanks for watching.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Check out the movie and let me know your thoughts on our discussion. Anything Batman related you want to talk about in the comments, go ahead. And then after a few days that the Batman's been out, go ahead and then we can do spoilers. I don't care after that point, but please don't spoil movies. That's all I'm gonna say, because it's not cool.
And this will all be spoil like no spoilers at all.
Yeah, we're just gonna tell you our initial thoughts about the movie. Just try to keep it as vague as possible, especially if this is going to be a detective story with mystery in it. I don't want to ruin anything. But thanks again for watching. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, and we may do more stuff like this if we get a positive reaction from this video. But till then, I don't know what I'm doing next. I've got a Twitter. It'll be linked in the bottom of the description. Just check that out if you want. And I'll see you after the movie. Well, we just got out of Batman. Gotta say, was amazing. Honestly, one of the better Batman movies I've seen in my life. I've got Dad and Dylan here. What do you guys think?
Best one this year.
Yep, that movie was captivating. It was awesome.
I'm speechless.
Which is a rarity for him.
Yeah.
Go watch it. It's good.
See it as soon as you can, and after you watch it again, because that's what I'm going to do as soon as I can. People who were worried about Pattinson, don't be. That's all I'm going to say. And I think this Batman movie is I see what people meant when they thought it was filmed like a horror movie. It honestly felt like it in certain scenes. So, if you like that kind of stuff, it's definitely for you.
Yeah, you won't be disappointed.
And just a personal recommendation, if you end up liking this movie, watch The Long Halloween.
Watch that car.
Because there's a lot of story elements that are pretty similar to this one.
And another recommendation: pee before you go in.
Yes, this movie is, not kidding, 3 hours long. And I don't know, was this the first time we ever went to a premiere for a movie? I think it may have been for me.
Yeah, for me too, yeah. At least that's what I can think of off the top of my head.
As far as you know, you think that's the first one you premiered at, Dad?
As far as I can remember, it is. But I don't remember well anymore. You know, I'm old. Older than Batman.
I think he's got you beat by a couple decades still.
I don't know.
So, final thoughts. Acting was great, directing was great, writing was great.
Go see it.
Yeah. Dylan, want one last word?
No, I think we pretty much well covered it.
Alright. So, thanks again for watching, everybody, and I'll see you whenever I make something new.